So, long story short, do I recommend the Bluetti AC60 and the B80 battery packs? 100%. Without a doubt in my mind, I will buy these again. I've bought the AC180. There's a few other exciting products that are about to hit the market from Bluetti, from what I can see on their website. More sort of solar storage systems. And man, for the price you pay, you get a lot for these units. That's the long story short. If you want to see the short story long, just keep watching the video, and I'll talk to you about all the other features and things that I like about these units. But yeah, basically, in a nutshell, fantastic unit. Let's rip into it. So, the AC60. This essentially sits in my Ford Ranger Raptor 24/7. I pair it with the Bluetti B80, which we'll speak about in a second. The AC60 is essentially a 400 watt hour or 33 amp hours at 12 volts power station. It's got multiple inputs, so you can have up to 4 inputs. First one being just 12 volt from your car. So I'll show you how that works. You simply plug that into a cigarette lighter port, cable on the other side, plugs into this input here. Bang. As you're driving, charging. Secondly, you've got solar. So you can either run the Bluetti panels. There's a whole range of different types of solar panels on the Bluetti website. Or as the plug comes with MC4 connectors, you can pretty much run any aftermarket solar panel as long as it meets the criteria that Bluetti asked for. I'll pop the exact voltage ranges down below, but it's important to note that whichever solar panel you choose, don't use the included MMPT charger that comes with that solar panel. This has a built-in system, so you literally just connect the solar panels essentially direct to the unit, either the B80 or the AC60, and the unit and the BMS inside will work it all out. Number 3, and this is by far the fastest method of charging. Just in Australia, we've got a regular 3-pin 10 amp plug that just plugs straight into the unit on this side. And the beauty about plugging in with 240 is it charges from 0 to full in an hour, which is phenomenal. If you pair that with the B80, it takes a little bit longer, but essentially if you're running just this bad boy, you can leave this, powering your fridge and some general camping stuff. For your fridge will run minimum 24 to 48 hours, depending on your brand of fridge. You can either, like I said, charge it through solar or your DC, or you can just not charge it at all till you get back home after your trip and plug in the 240, which is the fastest means. Fourth option is utilizing, again, the AC plug, but you can run off a generator if you had to. Don't know, to be honest, when you'd use a generator to power this. I guess if you were super remote and you weren't driving for a long period of time, you might use that to charge. But yeah, essentially they're the 4 ways to charge. All right, let's move on to the outputs on the unit. To turn the unit on, it's as simple as just a short press of the power button. And then you have one of 2 options. You can select DC to power the DC outlets, or you can select the AC to power the 2 outlets here. And you can both run AC and DC at the same time, which is fantastic. When you've selected DC and turned the DC unit on top there's a 15 watt wireless charger there, which is fantastic for charging things like your smartphone. If you've got like a Samsung Watch or Apple Watch that can accept DC charging, or wireless charging rather, that's fantastic. There you go, just straight on. You've also got your traditional 12 volt 10 amp outlet, cigarette lighter outlet, and you've also got a USB type C, which is up to 100 watts, and you've also got 2 USB type A's here, which are rated at 3 amps each, which are quite good. If you needed power, AC power that is, for whatever reason, there are 2 600 watts rated pure sine wave AC outlets here. And it's important to note, although it's 600 watts continuous, there is a power lifting mode that will support up to 1200 watts. So if you run an appliance like a hairdryer or something with a high resistive load like a cooktop, for example, you can run up to 1200 watts in power lifting mode. And to access that power lifting mode, you need to go into the app, which we'll go into in a minute. One other nifty little thing, I suppose, on the back of the AC60 is a little light. So you just short press that. It's got various levels of dimming, and it's also got an SOS feature. Hope you never have to use that. The unit itself is fairly light. It only comes in at 9 kilos. And the best thing about this unit as well is the warranty on this unit. 6 years, right, which is pretty phenomenal. And in that 6 years, Bluetti guarantee that you'll have 3,000 life cycles of this battery, which is, you know, full to empty essentially. Plug it in, bang, that's one life cycle. So you get 3,000 of them, and Bluetti guarantee that it will be at 80% after that 3,000, which is pretty phenomenal. If you compare that to like an AGM battery, yeah, the AGM, you're lucky to get 500 to 600 life cycles per battery. So that's a significant life cycle in these. And these are pretty much a 10-year unit. So whether you buy the AC60, the B80, or the AC180, which I'll show you a bit later, you're effectively buying a 10-year purchase, which is very important when it comes to portable lithium power. All right, we'll have a quick look at the app. So very easy app to use, very user-friendly. You can see just some weather stuff at the top. Whole bunch of different icons. You can add a device, check out your devices, set up some Bluetooth, speak to Bluetti. It's a fantastic forum where you can get lots of info on and ask a few questions and stuff like that. There's a store to buy stuff. The service is awesome. Like, just have a look. There's guidelines, there's FAQs. You can speak to people straight away. Install tips, stuff about maintenance, and people get back to you straight away. Warranty, extended warranty. And on the right, there's just some me stuff about your setup. So we'll check out the app with the devices. So we've got our AC180 and we'll also got our AC60 here. So I'll click on that one. And it's quite good. So you can see currently we're hooked into a 12 volt, but that's just the way it displays it. So 78 watts coming in from the car. There's nothing going out as the fridge is, you can see the DC is off. If I turn this on, you can do it all via the app, which is pretty awesome. So I'll turn this on. Our fridge should start cycling in a couple of seconds. How good's that? So you can see exactly what's going on. If I turn on the inverter as well, bang, the AC is on. We can plug some stuff in. Got some info in the battery pack. So I've got the B80 plugged in at the moment, hence why it's saying 1 and 2. So just a bit of info on this. It'll come with some serial number stuff, whether there's a fault or anything with that. Go back, check out the second pack as well, which is the B80, and saying bang, state of charge 100%, the software version. And the good thing about the Bluetti stuff, so easy to update. This is essentially the app in a nutshell. There's a few more options here. You can check the manual, which is good. Change a whole bunch of settings. I won't go through all this today because there is a fair bit to this app, but we'll just, yeah, just a quick, I'll just show you around real quick about some functionalities of this app. So you can set some eco settings as well. So basically all that is if you forget to turn off certain things, so you can say like if it draws less than 5 watts, so you know some items like fridges and stuff or power tools might be fully charged and there might be a little standby current, or a power I should say 2 or 3 watts just to keep the little the green LED light on or whatever. So after 4 hours the whole unit will automatically turn off. So that's a good feature to keep on. So I reckon I'll leave that one on. And yeah, that's pretty much the app in a nutshell. Super easy to use, it's fast, it's intuitive. You can turn the unit off from here. Yeah, just a great little setup. Okay, so we have here the Bluetti B80. So this is another portable power pack, I suppose. It's got slightly less features in the sense that there is no 240 inverter in this. There's clearly no screen. You have a simple, like a battery level indicator light in here. And the unit is a little bit heavier. It's 9.9 kilograms opposed to 9 kilograms for the AC60. However, this was purpose made by Bluetti to essentially be an add-on battery pack for the AC60. And that's what I use it for. So these have an 800 watt hour battery pack, whereas the AC60 has a 400 watt hour battery pack. So you can essentially pair 2 of these units with the AC60 and you'll have over 2000 watt hours of lithium power. That's pretty cool. And the best way, or the easiest way to do that is you have a port on the side here, which is, again, it's got a nice dust-proof and weather-resistant cover there. You simply get this cable, there's a little arrow on it that faces up. You push it in, clicks in, plug this unit into the AC60. As I mentioned earlier, there's 2 ports, so you can plug 2 of them in. Again, just make sure the cable goes up. Bang, that's in. In this combination here, you have 1200 watt hours of power. Add a second unit here, plug it straight in there with the included cable, and that'll be another 800 watt hours of power. As you can see, the units are pretty much identical, I guess, in terms of the dimensions. So they stack on top of each other quite well. When I have this set up in the back of the car, this is the configuration I have it in. I just run a strap over the top and secure that into the vehicle. And even with the strap covering the wireless charger, no worries. You bang that on, it'll charge, happy days. We mentioned earlier that the B80 does not have the same display as on what's on the AC60. However, when you utilize this cable here and you open the Bluetti app, you have the same features and functionalities essentially of the AC60. You can check things like the battery, the life cycle, or the cycle count for that. You can see exactly what power is coming in and what power is coming out. And you can also update the firmware and the software, everything for the B80 as well, which is great. So if you ever have any dramas, I suppose, with the B80, just hook this in, make sure you've got the most latest up-to-date software and firmware. And if you have any warranty issues or anything, the warranty is the same as the AC60. So that's 6-year warranty. It's the same 3000 life cycle count at 80%. It's the same IP65 dust and water ingress rating as the AC60. And as you can see, the outlets are very similar in terms of their design and their dust proof and waterproofness. So you can also run the B80 individual as well, separate to the AC60 if you wanted to. And this is something we do a fair bit. It comes with its own 12 volt plug as well. So when you get this unit, it comes with another solar MC4 to the aviation plug. You get your 12 volt for your DC or 24 volts. You don't obviously get the 240 because you can't charge this directly by 240. You've got to use the DC side of it, which is fine. However, if you use that link cable, where are we? On the unit itself. So if you hook this up to the AC60 and then plug this into 240 volts, then yep, it'll charge that, no worries, quite fast. I'll put the exact charging time that I experienced on the screen just below. But quite often we run this in my wife's car when the AC60 is in the Ford Ranger. And the reason for that is if we're doing a day trip where we're out with the kids and we know we're going to be on the road or out and about all day, we just throw some water bottles, some orange juice and some sandwiches and stuff in our little King's 15-litre fridge, and I'll just throw this in the boot. And this is great. There's no fans on this. There's obviously heat sinks and things inside, but you can essentially put this in a more confined space than you could with the AC60. So we throw this under the boot in the Model Y. There's a little nook, and I just have the fridge plugged in here. The fridge just sits either between the 2 baby seats. There you go, guys. You can see the little King's fridges chugging away as we drive along. Super convenient. It's all nice and neat. Fridge fits in. You can even fit a larger fridge in these Teslas, I reckon. We've got quite large baby seats too, so even if you have the Euro ones, there's heaps of room in them, and it's so easy to get to. Like, it's not hard at all for us to get them, or the kids, which is fantastic. Great little setup when you're on the road a lot, I reckon. And the great bit about that is you have the same benefits and features as mentioned earlier with the AC60, where you just plug this straight in here, bang, plug that into your vehicle, a cigarette lighter. You can plug your fridge or your phone or your camp lights or whatever into here. Okay. So my biggest gripe with the unit, or the units in general, including the AC180, which I will show you guys later in another video, is I really want an Anderson plug output on these units. I'd love to see some Anderson plugs on this unit, whether the 50 amps or the smaller ones. A lot of fridges and a lot of appliances these days 12 volt related, especially in the forward driving market, they require Anderson plugs, not so much for the 50 amp connection ability. It's more so the vibrating and the sturdiness, I suppose, of the 12 volt plugs, right? Surprisingly, the plug that comes with the Bluetti is honestly really good. Like that takes a fair bit of force to get out, and I'll show you some other plugs and how easily they come out. Okay, so here's what I was talking about earlier. The Anderson plug goes to my fridge, and this is the 12 volt cigarette lighter that has come with the unit. You can see it's already pulling away, and I really should cut that off and get a better plug. But this is what I was saying earlier about how I would have loved to see some Anderson plugs. You can see, regardless of that lock position, whether it's in or not, it just comes out so simply. Whereas if they had, for example, up here, had a double stack Anderson plug or built into it, that would have been fantastic. I think a lot of forward drivers and marine people into boats, the boats are rocking or the forward drive's rocking around or driving on corrugations, this will eventually come out. But to my surprise, the Bluetti one is actually quite good. If only they made an output version of it, that'd be great. To tackle that, all I've done at the moment is got one of these units from J-Car, and that's got a little plug on it, an angled plug here, and essentially I just Velcro this to my fridge slide with the female socket facing up. So when I plug this in, again, that's not the best, but it's a far less chance of this vibrating off. So yeah, long story short, I kind of wish Bluetti would add some Anderson plugs. Hopefully to the next line they will. Like this is a great unit. There's a lot to love about this unit, and I honestly do love it a lot. I use it all the time. We use it in the car, like I said, daily, in both our cars essentially. We use it at home when the kids bring their friends over, and we play by the pool or whatever. Instead of the kids walking in and out getting some food and stuff from the fridge, we just leave these two outside, or really the 180, and we just have a little 12 volt fridge that we take out of the car, which is great. We've used these units when we lost power for almost 2 days, which was fantastic. So this just powered our main fridge in the house, and the AC 180 powered the heating for the kids, which was great in their bedrooms. So they're a really versatile unit. If you compare these to a traditional 12 volt sort of dual battery setup, they're significantly cheaper than what you pay. I'll put the current prices on the screen for the AC60 and the B80, along with the AC 180 if you're interested in that. I'll make a separate video about that. Okay, so who are these units for? Well, I'm going to sound super generic here and say they're absolutely for everybody. They're IP65, right? That's water and dust ingress. They got great plugs. They got great covers on all the outlets and the inlets and stuff like that. So you can, if you're a tradie, you can use them. You can use them on a construction site. You can use them in the rain, in the dust, in the dirt. And then on the weekend, take them out of your van, take them off the construction site, throw them in your boat or your forward drive, or out for a picnic with the kids. They're robust, they're rugged, they're super easy to use, they charge really fast. They're essentially, I'm going to say, for everybody. There's, if you're not into outdoors at all, that's fine. They're great at home. They're great if the power goes out. You might live in a rural or country setting where power is not very reliable, and you just want a slight top up every now and then. Well, this is your unit. You got 600 watts of power, like we said, so you are limited as to what you can run. You can't run an aircon off one of these units, but I mean, if the power's out and you're it's just temporary, I mean, you can run your fridge for hours on this, which is great. So keep all the main stuff from going off. You can run your lighting and a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm going to say, again, super generic, but I think the Bluetti camping range, which is the AC60 and the B80, is pretty much for every use, every person, all weather, super robust and super portable, which is fantastic. Like the AC180 here, which is about 17 kilos. Similar battery capacity in one unit. However, these, like I mentioned earlier, you can essentially turn, if you had two of the B80s, you can turn this into 3 separate systems, completely standalone if you had to, or you can link them all up like I showed you before, utilizing those cables, and they're great. You know, you can run multiple different systems, and even with the B80, I'll show you this. So if you buy some other Bluetti products, for example, if you have the AC180 that I have over here, which hasn't got that quick charge port, aka these ones. Another way you can charge the unit, which is a brand new product from Bluetti, they're about $70 to $80 Australian, if I remember correctly. I'll have to post that. I'll put that price down below. But essentially, if you got one of these, and in the future, like myself, you go and buy another unit, check this out. Just remove that little dust cover, follow the arrow up, plug it into the clicks, and then you push and hold this one, a long press. And have a look at that. Bang. Just like that. We're using the battery pack that's initially designed to power the AC60. Bluetti have adapted that to make it work with all their other, sorry, I shouldn't say all, most of their new range, which is fantastic. So that's, the battery's quite full on this at 95%, so it won't be you know, going at full capacity with the inputs there. But I mean, that's what I like about Bluetti. They listen to their customer feedback just by you know, some programming and adapting this. They're essentially making their entire lineup sort of plug and play and universal, I suppose, if you want to call it that. Hey guys, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I really hope that my personal insights and my experience using the Bluetti products help you to determine whether the product is right for you. If you enjoyed this video, can you please consider subscribing and liking? And if you have any questions, please just comment down below and I'll try to get back to everyone. Thank you very much. See you on the next one.